What's up, guys? So we're here with the Miata, and this is something really unfortunate that I really didn't want to see. And we have under the back window just like a shit ton of rust, man. It's like even the little screws here, like it's like completely rusted. Like there's like it's just a piece of rust. There's nothing to grab there. Have to go grab the vice grips again. Just so much rust. I got this little panel off over the gas tank, and seems fine right here. The fuel tank seems fine, and most of the structural metal seems fine, but there's a little rust here which I don't like, but it's mainly these like little sheet panels that, and where it rusted, so I can poke my finger through this, which is like really bad. But this whole piece is rusted, basically where the sound deadening comes in contact with it. I'm about to POR15 everything. I have new sheet metal from a Miata at the pick and pull. I got really lucky in that regard. But this sound deadening here, it absorbed moisture. I don't know if somebody left the window down, absorbed moisture and rusted everything out. But I have a new piece here. I have all the new sheet metal from a Miata that wasn't rusty. I'm gonna POR15 it and put it in as soon as I get this out. So to take out the carpet, you have these little clips installed by Mazda, and you really want to get one of these little clip removal tools. I mean, you can use like a plastic pry bar, but I really like this basic one from Harbor Freight. You just stick it in there and bam, pops right out. This thing is awesome. Really simple, really awesome. But yeah, you just take these pieces out, and you know, this whole sheet metal cover, it's like untreated metal, but covers the fuel tank area. And you just have to take out a bunch of 10mm bolts. The problem is the cover over the fuel tank and the other little piece over here, there's little Phillips screws that hold that in. So those are fun to get out, but they're screwed into these little plastic tabs, so it's not like you have to drill them out. Might not be a bad idea to put some anti-seize on these screws as well in reinstallation. It's in a pretty precarious location as well. You can't really see what the heck you're doing. Don't know if you can see that. Loosen this just a bit. Kind of have to get a feel for the vice grips. But once you get it, you can. Once you get it good, it's coming right out. Not much of a screw left there, but it's out. The proper way to raise and lower the convertible top. Anytime you're going to go to open the plastic back window here, you want to pop the latches. So you hit this, pull this, pop the latches, relieve tension on the top, and then unzip the window. You always want to relieve tension before unzipping the window, and you always want to unzip the window and put it down before putting the top down. Because if you don't unzip the window before putting the top down, the way the top folds, it'll cause a crease right in the middle of your window. So always follow order of operations. Mechanically speaking, it's not necessary to do that, but unless you want to mess up your top, order of operations. The unfortunate thing, there's no rust anywhere else in the car. Now, of course, the Miata that I got the new sheet metal from, it had no rust right here. No rust at all. Fortunate for me. But it was rusted in the common rocker panel location, so it was essentially ruined. Just terrible. Absolutely terrible. I'm gonna move what I'm doing. I'm taking the sheet metal and I'm cleaning it. I'm brushing it with a wire brush. I'm using sandpaper on it, getting the rust off. I'm going over it with the POR15 metal prep and just letting that sit for like half an hour or something. Then you're supposed to wash it off with water. I think I sprayed one of them off, but I don't want to get water on this one because of, hey, sound editing. That's what caused it to rust last time. Except not on this side, up here. But yeah, it's but after that I'm sanding it again. I'm wiping it down with 91% alcohol, so it's perfectly clean. Those absorbent paper towels. Then just wiping it dry. And once I get the vehicle cleaned up and sand down those little areas where the rust moved onto through the paint onto like the structural sheet metal, I'll grab the POR15 here and stir it, pour a bit, get a brush, and I'm just going to go over all of this with the POR15. Alright guys, so this isn't looking horrible. So I sprayed the rust prep. Now what we need to do is get the POR15 ready and start applying it. But most of the surfaces are prepped. I've sanded them and applied the prep, cleaned them, I wiped them with alcohol. The surfaces should be relatively dry now. And it has to be dry to apply POR15, but I think I'm ready. So I just want to apply the POR15 back here to these little areas where it ate past the paint. And those pieces of sheet metal that we're going to be putting in, so the same thing doesn't happen again. But all in all, it's just exterior, so the POR15, we should be good. Ventilation, I don't know if it's adequate. This is some really strong stuff. It's a pretty generous amount, I'd say. Piece number 1. Brush it up. Alright guys, so the battery died in the GoPro, but we continued POR15ing, and I just grabbed some paint and spray painted these things. Like, this is what POR15 looks like, and it's like a thick, like, enamel. I mean, nothing's getting through this, but I did spray paint over it a bit, just so it, you know, looks kind of like metal. Yeah, it's like kind of like a thick, rubbery, like latex type stuff, but it's it's extremely sticky. It went through my pants and stained my leg, so it's really sticky stuff. But yeah, let's go ahead and put the metal back in. And to do that, actually I'm going to test the fuel pump first. This is on the 94 to 97 Miatas, and once they went to the 1.8 liter, and this is called the Cockpit Brace. So you torque this to 47 to 68 foot-pounds. Probably only get one, need to take one off. Because see me, I just need to shimmy the metal back on over the fuel pump. As you can see, every spot that had rust on it, on this metal where the rust came over from the sheet metal onto the metal, I just put POR 15 over it. I shaved off the rust, and there's like a little bit down here, but it's coated now. It's not the prettiest, but I mean, this is all under the carpet, and as long as there's no rust, I don't care. And I kind of shoved POR 15 up in all these little crevices to make sure nothing, moisture got in between the cracks and started rusting it from the inside out. Because believe it or not, I've seen it happen before where you have spot welds holding sheet metal on, and the moisture gets through and it breaks through on the spot welds, and then the metal comes apart. I have seen it before. Either this one or the driver one. I'm on the driver's side, so I'm just going to take off the driver one. And I don't know if I said it, but it's a 17 millimeter for the brace here, the Cockpit Brace. And you just get a wrench, a rag, or paper towel, whatnot. Okay, so this little 17 millimeter comes off. Move that to the side. You can bolden it if you'd like. And we have a 10 millimeter. That's what this is. Take out the 10 millimeter. Yeah, keep hitting stuff. Make sure you don't lose these. Looks like you gotta take the screw out as well. So screw this piece comes off. Like I said, I like to keep track of this stuff. This whole piece should come off now. Just have to take off the rubber trim piece here. And seat belt piece should snap off. Just pull it out. Pull the snaps out. And this should come separated. Just lift up on this little piece. And besides the seat belt, this whole thing comes out. Okay. This actually unsnaps. I didn't know that. So when you look at the piece, it unclips here, here. There's a guide piece here. There's another clip here. And there's like a little snap piece right here that hangs on this side and on that side. So the way you get it off of the seat belt is to pull this little area apart. Which, anyway, with this off, I should be able to get the panel in. I should be able to shimmy it on that side. So now we have the big panel. We just need to get it reinstalled. So I'm going to move the seat forward. And I'm going to try and shimmy this in here the best that I can. So, the way it goes in there, it's like this. I'm going to see if I can shimmy it through on one side so that I don't have to remove the trim on both sides. We'll see. Trim's easy enough to remove. It'd be nice if, you know, they gave you more instructions on removing it, but simple enough. Nice new metal. Now I need the mounting hardware. But I got a bunch of the little screws from an NB, so that's all good. So what I have on my little magnet are the fuel tank access and sheet metal screws, 10mm heads. Should be everything needed to put it back on. You just want to keep things organized as you go. $10mm ratchet. Crawling into the Miata using new screws. Win-win. Now I'd like to know if anybody out there knows why there's a hole in the floorboard on the passenger side. Like, is that stock? Like, it looks stock, but I would think there would be like a grommet there, or like one of those little like rubber covers. Like, I never expected to be able to see the ground when I look down at the floorboard. The carpet's not there. So if you had no other option, you could probably use the fuel tank cover from an NB on an NA. I think there's more material in the NB, so you could probably cut it, and some of the screws line up on this piece. I mean, you could probably make do with it if you didn't have any other option. But as far as direct bolt on, you need one from an NA. And the one I grabbed was from a 91, I believe, 91C package. Let's show how this little piece goes in. It's not inherently obvious. You would think it would go like this, like a cover, or like this. It goes like this. That's how it goes in. Which, as you peel away more of the carpet, you can see that more clearly. Remove this tab to really get it to pull up. I honestly didn't really mean to do that. But you will need 4 screws to go in here. Looks like I only need 9 screws. Actually, the proper number is 10 screws. You got 4 for this piece back here, and then you have 6 in this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which brings it to 10, and I have 11. So once you get the trim piece back on here and put this little piece on, screw, nut, and there's a guide down here, and it snaps on here and here approximately. Let's put your weather stripping. Oh shit, weather stripping goes in there. My bad. Back on. Start putting those little Mazda clips back in and whatnot, and the little nuts that go in here. Now I found there's actually a minor difference between the 90 to 93 Miata's sheet metal and the 94 to 97. So 94 and 97, well, whatever the case, this one is a 94. It has this connector here, and that's that wire that runs down it. On the 90 to 93, there's no holes to like anchor down that wire. On the 94, it has these plastic pins that are supposed to be anchored in, but there's nowhere to put them. This is the part where you would put your carpet back on. I'm not putting the sound deadening back on. However, I'm trying to figure out why my fuel sending unit is having issues, so I'm going to test this before putting it back on. Pull the fuel pump out.